just a job. It's a career with real growth, great pay,
All right, let's get this going. How we doing, everybody? We got wasted talent today and Vince Sapienza.
Apply now at a1garage.com/careers.
Let's get a pre-show tweet out. Let's get the tweet out.
Chris Fox with Simply Vegas Real Estate. If you're buying, selling, investing, or you have a property in distress and you need to sell fast, call me 702-419-42.
How's everyone doing? Everyone good? Good to see some people in here. Thank you.
The Morning Tailgate, weekdays 7 to 10. Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLV, Las Vegas. It's the JT the Break Show.
This is the Silver and Black. This is the Raiders. This is a historic franchise. This is no ordinary job.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
I don't care if I offend somebody. If it isn't right, I'm going to stop practice. We're going to do it the right way.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, join us live. We are live right now. As you know, if you're listening on radio, you should be watching on YouTube at JT the Brick YT, and you could be here on LV Sports Network or the Raiders mobile app as I'm getting out the show tweet so everybody can watch on X and some of the other platforms. I drove from the mean streets of Summerlin over to deep Henderson today for Raiders OTAs. I was out there with other various members of the media to watch the guys, and it was nice. Good to be out there again. Good to be out there watching Fernando spin it, Kirk Cousins. I caught a lot of special teams. And the highlight of my day was the time I got a chance to spend one-on-one with Max Crosby in the weight room. As I left, I had to leave to come here for the show, so I cut through the weight room. And Max saw me and pulled me aside, and I spoke to Max for a few minutes about his foundation, what he's doing. Not a lot of football, but everything that's going on in his life. Man, was he in a great mood. Wow, the guy is a gym rat. So when we hung out today, we talked a lot about, just him coming back and how excited it was. The smile that Max Crosby had was ear to ear. He is in that gym. He is working out. He's not out there with the drills. He was out there stretching. But what an animal he is in the weight room, and I saw it. I was right there today. So that was pretty cool, and had a good time talking to a couple other coaches. Robbie Leonard and I spent a minute today, because he's in the middle of practice, but he came over and said hello, and we talked, and I watched a lot of special teams and drills. And you know how this works. We're out there with our camera phones or the photographers with their long cameras. And you're basically taking pictures of guys who are warming up and stretching and running drills with helmets on and no pads, and that's what it is. But it's important because they're getting the playbook. They're understanding the culture. They're getting to know the coaches. Hey, man, there's a lot of new people around. There's a lot of people I've never met. I don't recognize. They don't know me. I don't know them. And we go through this process a lot, man. We've been through this process a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, where it takes me, through training camp to meet a coach, or a coach knows me from the past, or it's a new coach, and I get a chance to meet them, and they're gone. They're gone the next year. And that's important because you build relationships. I like to build relationships. And all the relationships that I built here in the last 5 or 6 years, most of them are relationships that I'm going to keep. But when someone walks out and they're no longer coaching, you really don't keep in touch anymore. You bump into that coach maybe when you play that team on a pregame, or you catch them during the preseason, during warmups. But coaches come and go, and a lot of them have left over the last couple of years. And now we have a new group that seems highly motivated, loud, and they're all about ball. They're really hardcore about ball. There is a sense of seriousness around this team. And again, I've been around this team a long time. Started in 1998. I've seen them all. And there's a level of seriousness around this team, which is unique and different. Not that it wasn't serious with Josh McDaniels. It was really serious. It was serious when Gruden got into you. Mark my word, when Gruden got into you, believe me, he got into you as hard as anybody else. Pete Carroll did it differently, right? That's the last thing I saw. Last June and July, watching Pete Carroll It was competition, but it was a lot of smiling, a lot of fun and games, a lot of pretend wrestling, a lot of shooting baskets. That was what he wanted to do. And that's what he was about. It worked before. And he tried it here and it didn't work and it failed. Now it just seems to me that it is very serious. And they had fun. You saw the quarterbacks and the offensive line. They went to the Golden Knights clinching game. Everybody's doing what they're doing and obviously getting along and getting to know each other. But the level of seriousness with this team, I think, is important right now because they are building this thing from the bottom again, and they have to do it correctly. And there's only a handful of players that have been here a while, like Max and Colton Miller, just a few, AJ Cole, right? So you don't have a lot of players that you have to give, hey, you were here for this, but now we're going to do this. No, most of the players are new. We got 7 or 8 new starters in free agency. Like Tyler Linderbaum, who you're going to hear speaking coming up, he's going to speak along with Brock Bowers. We're going to take that as close to live as possible. You know, Tyler Linderbaum worked with John Harbaugh. That's a pretty serious guy, right? You see Jalen Naylor come over from Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell, pretty serious guy. But Clint Kubiak has been around for a while, and he does it a different way. And I don't know how he does it yet. You know, this is just running around in pads. With no pads on and running through drills. But there is a sense when I walked through the locker room and I walked out on that field today, it is buttoned up. It is really buttoned up. You can tell. And nobody knows each other. No one in the media knows anybody who's there. No one who's the coaches know really anybody in the media, other than a handful of us. Everybody's just looking around, introducing themselves, and being really serious about the time they have to practice, the time they have with the playbook and film study, and the culture that they're setting. You know, a lot's been made about, you know, the team doesn't have the shield on their helmet. Great. Excellent. If that's what works, try it. The way that Coach Kubiak is going to bond with these guys. What are they going to do on days off? Are they going to go to the water park? Are they going to go to a movie? Are they going to do something? I have no idea, but it's going to be different. And I think it's going to be very serious going forward. And I think that's the cycle we're in. I never thought 7 years into this thing that we, the Raider Nation, would have to start from scratch. I mean, that's a worst case scenario. If you would have said Raiders moving here, shovels in the ground, they're coming to Vegas. By year 4 or 5, they're competing for a Super Bowl. Year 6, they win a Super Bowl. And now we're talking about kind of like the Golden Knights, right? The Golden Knights in year 9. I'm not saying the Raiders have to go be at that level. It's a little bit different. But now the Raiders are starting from scratch again. So we got to get behind the people that are putting this together. And it's Tom Brady who was out there today. You might have saw Q Myers posted a picture of Tom Brady out there. People, where's Tom? Where's Tom? I don't know where Tom is. He was out there today, right? So I'm sure he's deeply involved with what's going to happen today, with what they're trying to do and the culture that they are setting. It's really hard to think that you could come from a better culture. I'm just talking culture than Pete Carroll and Josh McDaniels. McDaniels came from the Patriots culture. And if you hated him, I understand it. That was Tom Brady's culture and Bill Belichick. So if you want to cherry pick Josh McDaniels and he's the guy you hate, well, Brady and Belichick was in that system with a guy named Mike Vrabel. And all those people that got multiple diamond rings. That culture worked. It did not work here. Pete Carroll had one of the greatest cultures in the last 25, 30 years. No debate. Go ask Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman. Go ask them how that culture was in Seattle. It was brilliant. Didn't work here. Okay. Why? Well, you could write a book on it. Why didn't the culture work? You didn't have the right players. Yeah, part of it. The coaches tried to do it a little bit differently, and they wanted to do it, and it didn't work. Yeah, they all were blamed for that. And I've been telling you for months, it's time to move on from the past. If you want to talk about a certain insider who said the Raiders are going to win 10 games and they only won 3, you still want to beat up that guy on the internet and go in and say he sucks because he thought they'd win 8 or 9 games and he was wrong? It's time to move from the past of the recent record of this team. We don't have to rehash it anymore. It sucked. I was out there today. It's a completely different new new time, new culture, new team. It's really easy to line up and get behind it. And look, I'm going to line up and get behind it all the time. And you want to call me a shill or I work for the team? Sorry, I work for the team. That hasn't changed in a long time. But I've lined up behind every coach in the past, thinking that they were going to make it different and make it better. Some have not been able to do it. It's all in the past. I'm not saying it's all forgotten, but it's all in the past. So now we give Clint Kubiak a chance to do it. And a lot of people think he's the right guy at the right time because he's all ball. He's an offensive guy. He comes from a culture of his father who won a Super Bowl through the John Elway portal, also the Denver 49ers portal, Minnesota, where they've been very competitive, much more competitive than the Raiders over the last decade. And this guy's got a certain style and a way he's going to do it. So as I said, I think everyone who can hear my voice today should easily get behind this change. I understand why you didn't get involved with Josh McDaniels. You didn't like the Patriots way, even though there's a lot of Patriots way left. There's a lot of people in that building still that came from the Patriots way. And you don't need to look at a media guide to figure out who. There's a lot of culture left from Tom Brady, everything from nutrition, film study, and practice that comes from the Belichick tree that is still in that building. Pete Carroll brought in a lot of his structure dating back to USC's championship dynasty and the success of Seattle. Not much left, but Robbie Leonard was there. I talked to Robbie Leonard today. He's the defensive coordinator. He worked under Pete Carroll. You don't think Rob Leonard took the best of Pete Carroll and his film study and the way he prepared for games and is bringing that with him to Clint Kubiak? Of course he is. A lot of these coaches got a big coaching tree, and they go all around the league. You just heard from Janoko. Okay, I got his tree in front of me. Rick Dennison. Oh, my God, do you see his tree of where he's been? Mike McCoy, who I met, and he's been really good to me the couple of times I met him. He was a head coach of the Chargers. He has a certain culture dating back to Long Beach State and George Allen, Hall of Famer. So you got a whole bunch of new coaches here, everybody trying to find their way and bring something new to the table. I think Raider fans should be really excited about that. The only thing I'm just telling people is leave the coach alone, let him coach. You know, you have been very hard on these coaches. Rightfully so. You've been very hard on these coaches, all of them. You had a love affair with Antonio Pierce until he lost 10 in a row. You had a love affair, straight out of Compton, leather jacket, AP, my guy. AP, can I have a selfie? AP, can I have an autograph? A lot of you turned on him really quickly when he lost 10 in a row. Same thing with Pete Carroll. He had a press conference. People are like, I don't like him. He's too old. Wow, we're age shaming? We're going to shame someone for their age? Yeah, you were doing that. No need to with this guy. You do what you want to do. Everybody should be behind this guy in kind of a Kubiak army, getting in line for this, because hopefully he's going to better your life. If you're a Raider fan in Modesto, in Fresno, in Oakland, in Los Angeles, in Vegas, you got to hope that Kubiak's the right guy at the right time. You don't want to make the waters choppy for him. You don't want to bust his balls. You don't want to get ahead of this and talk about what happens if he loses his first 3 out of 6 games. No, because you know this is a different time right now, and he's the guy to do it for you and me, everybody in Raider Nation. So that's all I got. What am I going to do? Tell you how they rolled the ball around and how they stretched? We don't talk about topics that are dead. I don't have a lot of stuff today to talk about on how they stretched. I don't. I like to talk about the meat and potatoes of sports. But I just told you today, there is a sense of urgency with this OTAs. You only have a certain amount of time on the field. Hustle. Get from the locker room, get to the field. Get in line where you're stretching and get your work done. Okay? The coach isn't going to come around and jabber it up with you and do that. This is all work. They're trying to flip this thing quickly. And these coaches are used to it who came from Seattle. They just won a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl. They practice a certain way that works. Their system worked in Seattle. Run the same system. That worked up there. And then sprinkle in some history of the Raiders. Bring some great alumni to the sidelines like Fred Biletnikoff, Charles Woodson, Marcus Allen. Bring them in. Let them speak to the team. Let them be around. Give that culture of the Raider history. Do it. But leave this coach alone. Let him coach and let him figure it out. Because who else I talked? I was talking to Levi today, Levi Edwards. And, the Mendoza topic's pretty big, right, for everybody. Everybody wants to ask a question or look at Mendoza. Where is he? Clay, it's like kind of like if you were going on a safari. If you're going on a safari and you have binoculars on a safari, you're not looking for the small little jackal to come by or, the zebra.
No.
You are looking for the king of the forest. And everybody's just looking at Mendoza.
Yeah.
And when I saw it today, it was AOC, it was Aiden O'Connell, it was Cousins, then Mendoza, at least when I was there. But everybody gets to the podium or around Mendoza, please, Mendoza. What do you mean, Mendoza? We got a whole team here. We understand everybody's going through this Mendoza cycle, which is obvious to see.
And it's one of which you can find the response for when you put a social media post of anything of his doing, taking a handoff, doing a quick throw.
Yeah.
It gets hundreds and hundreds of likes, and it goes all the way around the world. Everyone is doing that, and they've seen this crazy reaction. That's not for nothing.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the social media, Clay and I were talking about social media influencers before the show. Everybody wants to influence on social media. Well, go right to the number one guy, Mendoza. Right to him. And I just think I'm in the building a lot, but not this time of year. And I walked in there today, and when I walked out, it was really cool to cut through the weight room and for Max to pull me aside and to talk to him for a few minutes about a lot of cool stuff. And I'm excited for him. Really are. I mean, you think of what happened with Max this offseason. Woo. I mean, you look at what's happening with Max this offseason. Dropping music, right? Putting out new records, having big events. He's presenting an award at the Raiders Gala for mental health. He's got his event later on in June. We talked about his foundation for a bit. Everybody's on board. He was traded to Baltimore. Trade fell apart. He showed up at the Commitment to Excellence Awards, won 4 times in a row. I mean, Max has been through a lot, and he's one of the only players I know. I'm looking forward to getting to meet as many as I can. It really seems to be a good group of young men and new players out there trying to win for you in the Raider Nation. So if you want to hit on the Raiders, anything you want. We're going to play a lot of sound today. So I told Clay, once these guys start talking, we'll stop talking unless we have a guest, and we'll hear from them because you want to hear from the players, and we'll do that. If you want to get through, 702-365-9200. Also, I am all over the Golden Knights. So I'm talking the Golden Knights constantly now. Watch Carolina last night destroy Montreal. Watch out. Carolina is going to be playing Vegas. They're two very similar teams, very similar. They both check hard. They forecheck. They got really good players on all the lines. I mean, Carolina's first and second line is as good as VGK. It is. Maybe Vegas's fourth line might be a little bit better. Rod Brindamore, their head coach, works out 2 hours a day. I was talking to someone who knows him pretty well and I said, give me something for the show. He said, I'll give you something. Brindamore, who played for Carolina, now he's the head coach. He works out like 2 hours a day before the team gets there and with the team. Like he's ripped. He's got like a 12-pack. And if he sees any player take a shift off in practice or the game, they sit. So he said, well, how do you relate that to this matchup? He said, this team will die for that coach. Quote, they will die for him. There is not a weakness in the mental toughness of the Carolina Panthers. I think Vegas is mentally a pretty tough team, right? I think Vegas is pretty mentally tough. Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, Shea Theodore, they're tough guys. My buddy who knows hockey at the highest level says, these guys are tough. They have no quit. These are the guys that you want to go to war with. That's the team that Vegas is going up against. I think Vegas is going to win because I think they have the best roster in hockey. You got two hot goalies here. If you're a hockey fan, let us know what you think about the Vegas Golden Knights. I know I've been tripping for the last couple of weeks here trying to get everybody excited. Even Jesus, who is the Latino voice of the Golden Knights, said, I liked your video when you said you're the only guy in Vegas talking hockey at noon. I said, yeah, I'm the guy. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a coffee house and there's no one there. I'm sitting in the corner screaming at the barista. Will you talk hockey with me? Will you talk hockey with me? You're making my latte. I want to talk hockey, and no one will talk hockey with me. It's like I'm just bouncing off the wall. I'm desperate to talk hockey with people in Vegas. It's almost impossible on the radio. I mean, play-by-play is play-by-play. I'm talking sports talk radio. I'm dying to talk to hockey fans. Dying. And I've been coming up. I'm grinding through this, but I'm learning a lot about it. Because remember, if I don't give out the phone number and I don't mention hockey, you will never call and never talk about hockey if it wasn't for me. At least I give out the phone number. I give out my Twitter at JT the Brick and say, hey, I'm open for business. Any hockey fans out there? Okay. Check that box today. And then finally, my beloved Knicks. I'll be back in New York for the Knicks. Don't know if I'm going just yet, but I'm gravitating back east to the Knicks. And that's my focus now. It's the dead zone of football. My focus is the Knicks. My life, my show. The Knicks. I need them to win. It's going to be unbelievable. Tonight we have a Victor Wembanyama game where I'm predicting ahead of time he has to have 35 points and over 15 rebounds. If Wembanyama doesn't have over 30 and 10, which I'm predicting 35 and 15, San Antonio will be eliminated. Wembanyama was an absolute no-show in the last game. He did the number one JT the Brick pet peeve. 7-footers shooting threes. Oh my God, a 7'4" guy shooting a three. He was 0 for 5 from 3 because he shot threes. Because everybody thinks they're Steph Curry. Everybody wants to be Steph Curry. Oh, I can make a three. We know you can make a three. You're not allowed to shoot a three. You're 7 feet tall. Get your ass under the basket. Get your ass in the paint and play the way Kareem. Kareem could have made a three. Kareem didn't shoot threes. He was too busy rebounding and perfecting the sky hook. That's what he did. Victor Wembanyama has got to stop shooting half-court threes thinking he's cool. We know he's cool. We know he can make it. Have you seen the Knicks since Karl Anthony Towns stopped being an idiot and stopped shooting all those bad shots? The Knicks are beating everybody by 30. Guards shoot threes. Guards shoot threes, not power forwards and centers. Wembanyama has to have a big game tonight. Really big game. And I can't wait to watch it. I cannot wait to watch Victor Wembanyama tonight. Because if he loses, he gets a pass. He's going up against OKC. They're the defending champ. They got the MVP. No one's going to ride Victor Wembanyama out of San Antonio in shame. But if he has an iconic game and he forces game 7, people will remember it. People will definitely remember the impact that he's having on the sport. So, man, we got a lot happening today. And Vince Sapienza is going to join us in about 15 minutes. Also, Wasted Talent will join us. We'll touch on the Raiders. But he's a big Knick fan like myself. I called him and said, hey, let's talk some hoops today. He can't wait because we're doing sports talk radio today. Say it with me. Sports talk radio. Hockey, basketball, football, baseball. Baseball, whatever you'd like to talk about. I got it all covered. I'm a full-service sports talk radio host. I can talk about anything with you if you absolutely want to talk and sound off like you got a pair. 702-365-9200. That's 24 minutes, brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo, the victories that Modelo has, and Modelo back with us, and we are thrilled about that. When we come back, more on the Vegas Golden Knights in about 15, 20 minutes. Vince Sapienza, who's embedded with the team, traveling with the team, coming back with the team, hosting this show, doing live hits on Fox 5. Wasted talent next hour. Thursday, we got a big NBA game on. And the Raiders are practicing, and we'll have various Raiders from Tyler Linderbaum to Brock Bowers when we come back as we continue on this great Thursday from the flagship of the Silver and Black. Hello, everybody. Hello. How we doing? We set up this primitive little setup that I have here until we get the proper equipment. Thank you.
Well, you should be available in 5 minutes.
Okay.
The morning tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You wouldn't put your life savings into a slot machine, so why keep it at a big bank where every month can feel like a gamble? At One Nevada Credit.
All right, how we doing? Love the classic button up. Yeah.
Local service and better rates. Stop
Aloha. Yes. I'm a little bit rested from Maui. A little bit rested. Good time.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Fresh means craveable with the turkey, bacon, and avocado at Port of Subs.
All right. I got to count on people from here to call into the show because no one else seems to want to. So let me give you the number, and we'll get some bricklayers up here.
Turkey, bacon, and avocado. Fresh flavor, fully loaded.
Meet Barkley. When Barkley smells
All right.
he leaves fast. When Barkley hears
JT Brick Show.
coming from a gas appliance,
Hey,
leaves
Gordon,
fast.
what's up, man? Hold
When
on one
Barkley
second.
sees dirt or water shooting from the ground, he leaves fast. Barkley
Tillman Fertitta purchasing Caesars Entertainment for $17.6 billion and a lot of debt.
buried anywhere, so remember to call 911 and Southwest Gas.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
The hat? What do we got today?
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Summer just got a whole lot more rewarding. Get terrible during our 100 days of summer. We're dropping new deals every single day. At Terribles, the calendar is stacked. Free products, buy one, get one offers. And 50 cents off each gallon of gas every day. What are you waiting for? The only way to find out is to download the Terribles Plus Rewards app and earn daily rewards all summer long. 100 days of summer at Terribles. Something new every day, everywhere. Visit Terribles.com for details.
When you need cash, how quickly can LendingStore.com connect you to a lender faster than this commercial? Whether you need cash for a medical bill, groceries, or rent, LendingStore.com's network of lenders.
All right. All right.
You can fill out a few fields at LendingStore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500 to $5,000 $5,000 as early as tomorrow. So visit lendingstore.com today for details. See website for details. Lending Store is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old and not available in all states.
Hey, it's Chris Fox with Simply Vegas Real Estate. If you're buying, selling, investing, or you have a property in distress and you need to sell fast, call me 702-419.
We're not seeing Vinny out there. Vinny, I think, is in L.A.
Or at foxsellsvegas.com. 100960.
Oh, hey, Mike, what's up, man? Stay right there. I'm good, thank you. Good. Good to hear from you.
Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Raiders with a chance to win it with a 2-point conversion here in overtime.
Yes, JT, back with you. Yes, that was Xanadu. My son's worried about copywriting. I don't think anybody's going to get us for Rush Xanadu, Clay, will they? Clay, you do have a deep, deep arsenal of Rush working with me and us being friends this long.
Yeah,
you know
because
that.
I know you go into Neil Peart mode when I
Yes.
play it, and I love it.
Yeah, you know, it also comes down to I've seen Rush 54 times. They're back on tour. So I don't know where my 55th is going to be. It's either going to be San Jose, LA, Dallas, Florida, but I'm ready to get on tour with Rush, which means other than my job, I will drop everything to go see Rush. Everything. Yeah, if I have an interview with the coach, I'm not going to get on a plane and say I can't do the coach interview. I'm going to see Rush. But if I get a chance to get on a plane, I'm going to go do that. You know, it's interesting. I was going over the schedule with my wife, and all our years together, my wife has been with me. We've been married 26 years. Our whole entire July through January is based on the Raiders schedule. You know, for a long time, for me, almost 30 years. This year is weird. It's just weird. There's nothing but Sundays. There's no Thursday. There's no Saturday. There's no Wednesday. It's just Sundays, 1 o'clock or 1:20. That's it. And then we don't get the bye week to week 13. Who are the scoundrels on Park Avenue that did that to us? And now I got Raider fans saying, well, if we get to week 13 and we're 6-6, it'll do wonders for it. Really? That's how you're going to spin it? Our bye week's week 13. That's a long way away from a bye week. That's why I think the cardio conditioning of this team is going to be a massive priority because they're going to be playing consistently the same time every week. So their body clocks will be good. They know their day off. They know when they're going to have this or that. Their schedule is going to be so conducive to winning because it's not going to have a bunch of roadblocks along the way. But they got to win. They got to win. And again, I think the Raiders, I'm not here to predict what their final schedule record's going to be, but they've got to sweep Miami and New Orleans. Got to beat them. Got to beat those two teams in the first 3 weeks, Clay, because that gets us to a minimum, Raider Nation, of a 2-2 record from one of the worst teams in football to 2-1, maybe 2-2 or 3-1. And then all of a sudden you're looking at the Raiders off to the races.
There's really no reason why you can't get off to a 500 start after the first 4 games. In my opinion, you can go and find a way to find 2 teams beatable in those first 4 games so you have a good start and you can avoid that malaise in the middle of the year that could be a really awful losing streak. We've seen those the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, Raiders got to win some games early. Thor, back from his cruise, man. Thor, good to have you back in Summerlin. How was the cruise?
JT, it was incredible. I mean, incredible. Best cruise I think I've ever been on.
Whoa.
Alaska's really close, but this one, and let me tell you, I was actually thinking about you a lot. The cigar lounge was like way better because it's a brand new ship, and they had ESPN in there, and happened to be out of Miami, right? And there's a lot of New Yorkers. East Coasters, all the OGs were in the cigar lounge. The Knicks game was on because it was on ESPN. They were coming on every week. That 22-point comeback, you was going crazy in there.
Nice.
And I know you were going crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, right now, and you know I was representing Raiders. You know, it was good to see the love the Raider fans got from other people. Like, oh, it looks like the Raiders are really starting to do something with these good picks and hopefully coaching and whatever. Right now, I'm not even tripping off the Raiders. I just want them to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I want them to figure out what's going on. We're in the middle of basketball. I'm happy for you. I remember as a Warrior fan when the Warriors were coming up, and I was like, oh, my God, we actually got a shot. I know it's to win a title, and now I know it's been since before I was born for you guys to win one. So I'm rooting hard for the Knicks.
Good.
I hope San Antonio wins tonight, and that goes 7, get you a little more rest, and let them battle it out and let the best one come out. I'm not a hockey fan, you know that, but you got me rooting for the Knights, and they've been doing pretty good. So
thank you, Thor.
Let's go. I mean, it's a good time in sports right now. You don't have to be stressed out about football. My A's have kind of fallen apart a little bit, but it's a long baseball season, so hopefully they'll get it back together.
Yep.
It's a good time to be a sports fan.
Thank you, Thor.
And my teams aren't even in it right now, so let's go.
All right,
let's
man.
Go.
Appreciate it.
Let's go, baby.
Thank you, Thor. Thank you, man. You know, this is an interesting time to be a sports fan because there are teams that are in the Stanley Cup final, the Golden Knights. They are in the Stanley Cup final. Oh, look at my son. He's on the stream. He just popped on the stream. So I got to tell you this. My son, so for everybody, this is why you should be watching YouTube. My son just jumped into the stream. He's got a card business, you know, pulling cards, sports cards. They ripped one of the greatest cards in the world last night for their business. They're showing it to you right now. And explain what it is. It's a Tom Brady card with Asian words. It is rare. It is rare. So if you want to go look at the Pit Boss, that's my son's side hustle. And I'm really proud of him, what he's built with this thing. They rip cards every night, man. They're out there. You can go check that out, and you won't believe. I'm sleeping last night, and my son's on a stream. And my wife jumped out of bed like there was a tarantula in the bed. I go, what's going on? You know, they're nervous. The kids are not home. He's working. And they ripped the Tom Brady card last night that I don't know what it's worth, but it was worth a lot more than 2 of my Maui vacations I just came off. So congratulations to the Pit Boss crew. If you guys like to watch this whole world of cards and football cards and baseball cards, a little plug to my son and his Pit Boss crew. They're doing something really cool. Really cool. I'm really proud of them. And this Brady card, man, I don't know what it's worth, but hook up your dad, man. Hook up your dad. If that card's worth as much as the boys told me last night, let's go. Let's go. Let's go somewhere tonight. Let's take dad out to the strip. I'll go to the club in a bottle of bub all night long. 702-365-9200. Blind Mike in Philly. What's going on, Mike? Thanks for checking in. What do you got?
JT, man, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm great to check in. It's been a minute. I really want to get into the scheduling thing that you just talked about, the bye weeks. And I've argued this for years. I mean, just with my friends. I feel like the league needs a universal bye week. In other words, like let's say, whatever, Thanksgiving weekend or something, like where it's in the middle of the season, you know, like where it's not, you know, like you guys have a bad week when it comes to week 13, you know, and I feel like it happened with my Eagles a couple of times where our bye week was at like whatever week 12, and I'm like, really, you know what I mean? Like there has to be a universal bye week for the league.
Well, I think we're gonna, Mike. I think we're not gonna have a universal bye week because they have television and they need to provide television. But I think we're gonna go to 18 games here, not next season, the season afterwards, and teams are gonna get 2 bye weeks with all the international games, and 2 bye weeks. I think are gonna make a lot of sense for a lot of teams.
It does too. I really feel that way though, because it's like if you want to go to 18 games, you know, I listen to other shows and I listen to Oreo and all that stuff. There's been talk about that, like with this 18 game setup. It'd be interesting to find out like what happens with these owners meetings, because they're battling with the Players Association. Okay, is the Players Association going to be like, okay, let's go to 18 ease, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff, and thanks for the call, Mike. They're going to have to figure it out, but we're not there yet. So we're not there yet, and I'm not going to put a lot of time into that. But do I envision a time where there's only 2 preseason games, and then there's an 18-game regular season with 2 bye weeks? Yeah, and everybody plays one. We might get to the point where teams are playing multiple international games, multiple. So that's how it's going to play out, and it's a television league. The league is dominated by television. That's why you're getting games now every night of the week almost. Wednesday, Thanksgiving Thursday, Black Friday, Saturday games, Sunday games, Amazon Prime, Netflix. There's just a lot. I don't know how you keep up with all of it. I don't know how you do it. Unless you're like a streamer and you're a young kid in your 20s. I mean, I got all the apps I'm able to watch, but it is getting crazy to cover the NFL now. I have no idea what your budget is for the NFL. I'm assuming it's big. And we're in a very unique scenario now here, Clay, because a lot of Raider fans have to travel to every game. They don't live in Vegas. So even though they're coming to see a home Raider game, they're traveling, which means an airline ticket, hotel rooms, game tickets, the enormity of what Raider fans are spending to come see their team home and on the road if they're out of market. It's a big number.
It's a big number, and I know a lot of people have even taken second jobs just so they could have a cushion for when that time comes in the season, they could go and bring their family, not just one person, but 4.
Oh, so that's what I'm doing here, my second job? Oh, that's how I'm paying for those season tickets.
Yes.
Yo, now I figured it out. You aren't to something. My second job, well, this is my first job or my 1A job, but believe me, it helps pay for those season tickets in section 132. Slide on by. Fabian's there. You can hang out with Raider Reggie. There's some good people in my section. You know the guy, the fake Al Davis? The guy who wears the Al Davis jumpsuit? He's in my section. A lot of good people in my section there, man. Love my seatmates at the Raider game. No doubt about that. Vince Sapienza will join us coming up on the other side. We're excited to talk to him, and it's going to be really cool to get into it. He's covering 2 great stories, the Raiders, but most importantly, the Vegas Golden Knights. Finley Volvo Cars of Las Vegas. Mike texted me yesterday. He's going to come in studio sometime next week and tell you about all these new Volvos that are available, the hybrid. I plug in cars now. I don't pay for gasoline. Ooh, it's a secret. My wife does. My wife has a gas guzzler. My son has a gas car. But once you go hybrid, man, I don't know how you go back. I don't. But Volvo has all these other cars, these hybrids, and you can look at any type of car, but they're safe. So we thank Finley Volvo Las Vegas. Rainbow at the 215, right directly across the freeway from the world headquarters of UFC. All right, Vince Sapienza in a few moments, and then Wasted Talent joins us next hour. We're wide open today to talk to you and the Raider players you're going to start hearing coming up. Tyler Linderbaum and Brock Bowers. Stick around. All right, let's go hydrate for a minute. Yeah, how about that Tom Brady card my son got, huh?
At the end of the 5-hour show, if you are tired and exhausted, you have elements. That means you put everything that you have. That always resonates. If you don't put 100% effort into what you want and put it out there, you sure as hell ain't going to get 100% out.
And no one's still good. Yeah, it's weird. Because the media's waiting around.
Yeah, but they wild. Yeah, people are getting restless.
That's 75% of the battle.
Miss unnecessary roughness weekdays at 2.
This is JT. Celebrate your 2026 grad with the gift of chicken fingers. Stop by your local Raising Cane's to pick up a gift card or head to RaisingCanesGear.com for an e-gift card delivered to your inbox in just a matter of minutes. Cane's makes celebrating your grad easy and delicious. Proud partners of Raider Nation Radio and my show, Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Vegas, are you ready? Your Las Vegas Rockers are storming back into the Orleans Arena Sunday, May 31st for an international showdown that you don't want to miss. Watch the Rockers battle the Stuttgart Stallions of Germany in a night of hard hits, high-flying touchdowns, and non-stop arena football mayhem. The lights will be bright right, the crowd will be loud and the energy will be pure Vegas. Tickets start at just $60. Get yours now at LasVegasRockers.com. Bring your friends, bring the family, and bring the noise for Las Vegas Rockers football.
Patty Davidson here from BetMoneyHoney.com. Would you like to become an educated sports fan that also knows how to place a bet? How about a library of how games are played, how to make bets, and hot picks of the day? Join me at BetMoneyHoney.com.
An accident isn't just an accident. It's lost time, lost wages, in a fight you didn't choose. That's where we come in. At DeCastro Law, we deliver serious firepower for serious injuries. We fight to make things right. When you're injured, the choice is clear. We're the DeCastro Brothers, and we have your back. Together, we win. BrothersWin.com.
At DeCastro Law, the brothers have your back. BrothersWin.com. Clark County Credit Union is now Create Credit Union. You can expect the same amazing service and great rates that have been part of Southern Nevada for 75 years. You've always been here for what matters most, to help you create the life you want. There are so many benefits to banking at Create Credit Union. So open an account today. It's smart, simple, and convenient. Visit createcU.org to get started.
That's Trey Tucker.
Our suspension experts will take you right to the next level.
Oh, righty.
Specializing in precision suspension tuning for sports cars, SUVs, and of course trucks. From high-end alignments to full suspension upgrades, we have everything you need. Get this for that truck. Give us a call. We got it. 702-840-4400.
There are 6 things that must be exactly perfect for your air conditioner to use less energy and last longer. If even one isn't perfect, your system works harder and wears out.
All right. Trey Tucker is speaking to the media now. We can play a little of that or not. We'll see. Claude Lemieux died by suicide. Claude Lemieux, what a great player.
Yes, I know. I need a double shot. Getting anxiety separated from you. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll go right to you here. All right. Vince, back here in 20. Come back with a final call.
Claude Lemieux died by suicide, Clay, and you were there for the battles of Detroit, Colorado.
About him, yes. He beat the Red Wings with the Devils in '95, and then was the thorn in your side with the Avalanche. Oh no. Oh, that's sad.
Or at foxsellsvegas.com for 100960.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
Michael backs it in. This one will go to the final seconds, and this one is a home ice clincher. For the first time in franchise history, the Knights clinch the Western Conference at T-Mobile Arena. For the third time in 9 years, they're going to the Stanley Cup final.
Yes, that's Dan Duval. What a great call. JT back with you. Vince Sapienza, who's embedded with the team for Fox 5, covers the Golden Knights and our morning show host here on the Morning Tailgate. Kind enough to join us. Just wow. As you know, you and I talk, been friends a long time. I never doubted this team because of their roster. I knew they had an Olympic all-star roster, and I was preaching that the roster would save them throughout the playoffs because they have too many good players. Did that turn out to be true, that the good players finally stepped up?
100%. You can check the receipts. When we were doing interviews at the beginning of the season, you asked me how good is this team going to be, and I said it's a top 4 team on paper. Now, they obviously took a very different route to becoming that top 4 team, and if they wanted to be a true Stanley Cup contender and be able to win it, things had to break right for them. It turns out that John Tortorella was that special sauce, I guess. Who would have thought 2 months ago this team is on the verge of missing the playoffs? Carter Hart is injured, and
and they just fired their Stanley Cup winning head coach. Fast forward, and here we go. And if you even turn back the clock even a little bit more, on March 2nd, okay, March 2nd, just a couple days before the trade deadline, you think about what that roster looked like, and I'll go to the game-winning goal of Game 4 against the Colorado Avalanche. Combining on that goal was Nick Dowd, Dylan Coughlin, and Cole Smith. None of those players were on the roster on March 2nd. So it goes to show you management, love them, hate them, indifferent. They're doing everything they can to win. They have done everything they could do, and they are reaping the benefits of that. Now they sit 4 wins away from once again doing the impossible.
The big story also is Carter Hart and what he's been able to do. I mean, I knew about his past. I knew about some of his great moments as a player. I didn't think he was this good. I mean, there's some of the saves are just incredible. And I thought that he'd have a game somewhere along the way that they'd have to pull him, or maybe just a game that didn't go his way. How has he been so locked in? You've covered his arrival to this organization, how he's been able to settle in, and how he's playing at the highest level of any goalie left.
Yeah, it goes back to the Golden Knights. They understood that picking him up, it was going to come with some baggage. It was going to come with some, different kinds of thoughts. But in terms of on the ice, once he got into game action, he really was ascending in terms of his play. And then he gets injured again, and it kind of, puts a halt on what could have been. But then he comes back, and it's, irony, serendipitous, however you want to describe it. The one mentor that he kind of talked to almost every single day when he was away from hockey was John Tortorella. So the fact that John Tortorella comes in around the time he starts getting healthy, nobody knows the player better than John Tortorella. And we've asked him many times about Carter Hart, his relationship, his time going back in Philly and things of that nature. He believes in him. At the end of the day, he believes in him as a hockey player. Even when you go back to that Utah series, and there was a couple ugly games in there from Carter Hart, and Tortorella stood by him and said he's going to be better. I know the player. If there's one player in this room I know, it's Carter Hart, and it paid dividends, because I said going into the Colorado series, I think I said it with you here on this show, JT. I said Carter Hart's got to steal a game, probably 2, if the Golden Knights want to win. Well, he stole the first 3 games. Colorado outchanced, outshot, outdid everything analytically against the Golden Knights. The difference maker was Carter Hart, and his game only got better from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And that is a steadfast kind of confidence by his head coach. And I've talked to Carter about what that means to him. And, he's pretty buttoned up with his answers and what he wants to kind of talk about. But I can tell you, talking to him, that confidence from his head coach goes a long way. And not many goaltenders specifically, but even just players, get that kind of vote of confidence from their head coach. And it's paying dividends right now for the Golden Knights. They're going to need it for one more series.
Vince Sapienza is our guest, Fox 5 Raider Nation Radio. So one more hockey point I wanted to make. A lot of really good hockey insiders told me that Minnesota did a number on Colorado, really banged them up. The checking, the physicality took a little bit out of them as they came into the Golden Knights series. How are the Golden Knights after a physical series, but one that went short with Colorado? It's not like Vegas went 6 games or 7 games and a bunch of guys got hurt and were limping to the bench. Overall, with the time off that they're going to receive, with the start time of the Stanley Cup Finals, it's all good, right? Everybody's ready to go, pretty healthy overall as a club?
Yep, everyone outside of Jeremy Lauzon, the Golden Knights defenseman, is ready and accounted for. The team got yesterday off, today off. They'll be back in practice tomorrow. We'll see if Jeremy Lauzon is on the ice or not. He has not played since that Utah series, but relatively healthy. I mean, for healthy, I put that in quotations, right? Because obviously Mark Stone doesn't play the first 2 games of this series. He missed 3.5 games with a lower body injury. But the difference is the Golden Knights have experience of not playing with Mark Stone, which is why they were able to have success. Colorado, Cale Makar was everything, right? So him out of the lineup, they were really kind of they were trying to survive, if you will, skill. The Golden Knights, silver lining to seeing their captain hurt is they've had to go through it before. And I think that's, another testament to this team is they once again flexed their depth. And it's not just their resiliency because they have that in spades, but they've been able to, weather the storm with different guys injured. And when you have such a top-heavy lineup of skill, with the Marners and the Eichels and Stones and all those things and the Shea Theodores, when you have those guys, you have other guys to pick them up. So that's what the Golden Knights flexed the most. When Stone was out, they were able to pick up the slack. But, these next few days are massive. They're definitely going to take advantage of it. And if it is indeed Carolina, that's going to be another black and blue bruising type series. So they're going to have to get ready.
Yeah, let's assume that. If we have to pivot because it's Montreal and they have a miracle, we'll do that. But it looks like Carolina, very similar, great forechecking team. A lot of people say it could be an ugly series where both teams won't get out of the neutral zone, kind of like the Devils back in the day. I'm not a guy that is going to debate styles that often, but both teams, similar styles, great top two lines there. But I'll say what I said against Colorado and Anaheim and Utah. Vegas has a better roster than Carolina. Carolina's got very good players. They don't have the level of depth of all-stars, former and present and Olympians, that Vegas has. So I got to lean on the fact that Vegas has a deeper roster than Carolina is my only belief on how they could win.
Utah had the speed, right, and unbridled enthusiasm in terms of not knowing what they didn't know, right? Anaheim had speed, better skill. Colorado had as much, if not more, speed with world-class skill. And the Golden Knights showed that they were not only able to handle the speed in every series, but when you get to a team like Colorado, they were able to match that skill. I completely agree with you. Carolina does not have the world-class skill or type of talent, top to bottom, from their players compared to Carolina does not compare to the Golden Knights. They outclass them in that respect. But, again, it's going to be a black and blue series, tight checking. However, the reason why I find it tough for the Golden Knights, to not be the favorite is because of what they did against Colorado in Game 4. They didn't outclass them. It wasn't an incredible display of skill. They outchecked them. They wanted it more. They played harder. In the biggest moment, they willed their way to victory. And that's what you're going to have to do, but not just for one game. You're going to have to do that for an entire series against the Carolinas team whose whole tagline is relentless, aggressive forecheck. So that's the task at hand if it is indeed Carolina, which, it seems to be right now. But another tall test, but I like the guys in gold, JT.
Hey, well, look, if you had the under on me asking you anything on the Raiders, you won. Because I didn't want to talk Raiders with you. I don't want to talk OTAs, let alone OTAs today. I wanted to use you for your unbelievable hockey knowledge because we're in the Stanley Cup here in this city. Last one, your wife and kids excited that you could have went to Montreal, but you might go on that long trip to the Carolinas. That's a long one, but you'll be on the road, right?
Yeah, they were jumping for joy after Game 4, knowing that Dad was home for a couple more days. So, being the overcompensating dad, we're playing games, we're getting popcorn, they're eating all the candy, much to the chagrin of my wife, who's going to have to deal with it when I leave. But it's all good. Yeah, enjoying the time right now.
Take care, buddy. Safe travels. See you soon. That's Vince Sapienza from Fox 5 in our morning show. Brought to you by the DeCastroverde Law Group, Brothers Win. Did you hear what I said? The Brothers Win. So if you get into an accident, you get injured, you hear a whole bunch of attorneys in this town. They're on billboards, on motorcycles, necks bulging with fake testosterone, screaming at you. Alex and Orlando DeCastroverde don't do that. They just win. The DeCastroverde Law Group, the Brothers Win, brotherswin.com. Wasted Talent will join us in 10 minutes.
Saturday at 1, the Minnesota Twins play the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Sunday, we've got the Cubs at the Cardinals at 4 on ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM.
Brought to you by Vince. We're here for you.
Be right there, everybody. Let's turn down the volume. Let's turn down the volume.
South Decatur near Russell. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware. Fast, easy, and built for the
Okay.
pros.
All right, we're going to do wasted at 10 after, Clay. 10 after. I'm going to take a little meat off the bone at the top of the hour so that we have a player to play.
Yeah, I'll go get one. It would be Trey Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Zippy's, serving Hawaii comfort food for over 60 years, is now in Las Vegas. Kokua means to support, and their Kokua for a Cause is supporting the Just One Project. You can help by purchasing a Kokua pack loaded with Korean fried chicken, Spam, hot dog, and Portuguese sausage over rice, or rounding up your purchase. Zippy's, giving back to the community. Zippy's, celebrating 60 years of service.
Yeah, Vince is a good guy. I helped bring him here. Vince was my intern in LA on Fox Sports Radio. Vince started with me and Looney. How about that?
I can't believe this mess I'm in. I don't know what to do. You need a great attorney. Yeah, but nothing. You can't do this alone. You need the Vegas lawyers. Hi, this is Paul Pata. Whether you need representation for DUI, domestic violence charges, record sealing, or any other criminal defense issue, you're going to want the Vegas lawyers on your side. The Vegas lawyers, where compassion and strong legal representation come together. Check us out at thevegaslawyers.com or give us a call at 707-7000.
High internet costs, cell phone bill going up, streaming services you forgot you had? What if someone fixed that for you? Radiant Start Checking at West Start Credit Union includes no negotiation and lower your monthly bills and cancel subscriptions you don't need. That alone can cover the $7 benefits. Visit weststart.org/Radiant Star to learn more. Radiant Start Checking has a $7 monthly benefits fee. Activation required. Terms and conditions apply. Share statements with the minimum balance. Membership eligibility.
Okay, Tucker's 11 minutes.
Hey, it's Chris Fox with Simply Vegas Real Estate. If you're buying, selling, investing, or you have a property in distress and you need to sell fast, call me 702-419-4346, 702-419-4346, or at foxsellsvegas.com or go 100-960.
Hey, Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Yeah, back
Really
at 30.
sucks. Terrible boss and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks, and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck You offers small classes with night and weekend times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck, the letter U, LV.com. Truck You.
Your home for Raiders football. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLV, Las Vegas. It's the JT the Brick Show.
Just get up every day and you take one step at a time and you keep going and you show up. We have a big mountain to climb, but we're not trying to do it all in one day.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's really important to me that we're a gritty team in the way that they were back in the old days.
Nothing that we say is what we do on the field. All the little things that went that have nothing to do with skiing.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
All right, everybody, we are back for hour number 2 of the show as we continue here. This is Raider Nation Radio. So what we're going to do, a couple of players have spoke. We're going to play a portion of everybody who spoke today. Trey Tucker first. We're going to have Wasted Talent joining us in about 10 minutes. So OTAs earlier today, and first off was Trey Tucker.
Who's the part of this offense that maybe is the conducive what you want to do and how you kind of fit into it?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. We're very multiple. We got a lot of things going on. So we can pretty much do anything we want to do at any time, which is great. We just all got to be on the same page and execute.
What excites you about your role in particular in this offense?
Yeah, I think Coach Kubiak, his big thing is just being able to do, multiple things. So not just lining up at one spot and playing that spot, but lining up at all three, So in our scheme, you'll see guys everywhere. And that's the whole versatility part. So I'm excited to do that, excited to do a bunch of different things. You'll see me here, you'll see me there, you'll see that guy here, there. So we'll be all over the place.
As for you, what's it like going into year 4 in the NFL for you? And how maybe things feel different or similar to years past?
Yeah, I would say a lot more confident. I come in, I know what's expected of me. To me, it's a 365 thing. I work all year round at this. This is what I love to do. So I get to come in and work, and now I'm a leader in the room. So, my job is obviously to get the young guys going in the right direction and going out there and being the standard.
What's that like for you, kind of being the mentor now among this wide receiver group?
I was very fortunate to have some great guys in my room when I was a rookie, which kind of helped me grow and, as a person and as a player. So that's my whole thing with those guys is how can I make them better, and how can I help them in any way possible? Like I always tell them, my phone's open at any time of the hour because this is what I love to do. So however I can help them, I'll do it.
How's it been with Jalen coming in as well and making sure he feels comfortable, especially with this team, especially in your guys' group?
That's my guy. It's been awesome to have him. I watched him from afar. Actually in college, because at the time, I wanted to go to Michigan State, but that's another story. But he's been great. He's another leader in the room. And he's just very smooth, great guy, great leader. He works hard, and that's what's expected of him. And we're very excited to have him here.
What has been your impression of Clint Kubiak, and what do you like about this straightforward, no BS approach?
I love it. I mean, I'm kind of like that as a person. Let's just get to it. We're here to win games. We're here to play football. We want to be connected. That's the whole goal. So all the extra stuff, that's what you do in your outside life. But, when we're here, let's get to work. Let's do what we need to do. Let's win games. Let's have fun.
Just in regards to Fernando Mendoza, I know it's been early so far. Just what stands out to you about how Mendoza has tried to adjust himself to the NFL level?
I would say his mentality as a rookie is elite. It's insane. Guy for where he's been, throughout his career. It's insane, and it's also really cool to see. He was the number 1 overall pick. But you would think that he comes in as an undrafted guy, the way he works, the way his mentality is, and that's really what you want. For a guy like that, and he knows the expectations are big for him, and he's got a bright future. But he's been tremendous, and I'm very excited to work alongside him.
From what you might have seen.
That's a good question. I would say, from watching him, I think he's everything, but I would say just for me, I didn't realize how tall he was. He's very tall and he's big, and it's cool. So,
different offensive coordinators since you've been drafted. How has that impacted you?
For me, honestly, I've been blessed to be able to learn. Obviously, you don't want to have multiple different offensive coordinators. You can't play in the same system, but you can't look at the negatives. The positives, I was able to learn different schemes, different terminology, different things. Just seeing different things in a different way, and I think that's helped me. Now because a lot of things we're doing. The NFL's the NFL. Everybody runs the same plays. They just call it different. So, the coaching points, and you get to learn more. So I think it's been great for me to learn multiple different offenses, and just to continue to keep improving.
All right, that's a little bit of Trey Tucker, who just spoke to the media. Tyler Linderbaum, Brock Bowers coming up later on this hour. All of these interviews are streaming live on the Raiders platforms, especially Raiders.com. We bring in wasted talent like we like to do on Thursdays, and we get them here this offseason. I reached out to you not to talk about the Raiders, but the Knicks. How fired up for you for the Knickerbockers and what's going on back east at the Buzz because the Knicks are in the finals?
Well, JC, I'm ecstatic, man. Back east, everybody's going nuts right now because you know how New York is. I really feel like the Knicks are New York's favorite team when they're winning. The city is totally different. I've watched the Yankees win for years, and I watched the Giants win. But when the Knicks are good, it's nothing like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. People who know the history of the Knicks, and a lot of people that are listening to us don't know the history of the Knicks. They just remember Patrick Ewing or, certain teams they had with John Starks or Carmelo Anthony as of late. But this team, all of a sudden, people are turning on the TV and they're winning by 30. They're winning by 40. They're blowing everybody out and playing more of a beautiful game of basketball than all of us Knicks fans are accustomed to from back in the day.
Yeah, the elite guard play and a lot of what Mike Brown has done. You gotta tip your hat to Mike Brown coming in and kind of changing his team and from what Tom Thibodeau did earlier with being a more defensive team and not really having a lot of rotations. I love the way Mike Brown's been using the bench and how he has all of these guys firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it's just incredible what's happening. And I just want to say this while I have you on the air. I was wrong on Mike Brown, and I don't have a problem being wrong on it. I didn't even think he deserved consideration to get that job at all. You don't go from being fired in Sacramento to being the head coach in the number 1 media market after Tom Thibodeau took him to the Eastern Conference Finals. And you remember a couple of weeks ago, down 2-1 to Atlanta, I, along with many people, knew that Mike Brown would have been fired. No debate. He was not coming back if he didn't get by Atlanta. Now he's 4 games away from a title.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody saw this thing with Mike Brown coming. Now, Mike Brown has been a very good coach. When he was in Sacramento, he got the Kings to the playoffs for the first time in, I think, 16 years. He took a LeBron team early in LeBron's career to the finals. So he's no slouch, right? He was on that Golden State team as a really, really trusted assistant. I think that he kind of needed time to get his program implemented. And then they made a few moves. They went out there and they got Alvarado and a bunch of guys. And I think that was the big thing that the Knicks needed. They need that guard when Brunson goes down to push the pace. And I think that's made the difference for the Knicks.
Yeah, all right. So one last question on the Knicks. It looks like it'll be OKC unless Wemby comes through and extends it and maybe goes to 7 games back in OKC. OKC's better. They're going to be the favorite against the Knicks, but with all the time off and the style that the Knicks are playing, I think they have a much better chance to win that series than if you would have told me a month or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, with Jalen Brunson, he's going to face a lot of ferocious perimeter defenders. You got Lou Dort, you got Alex Caruso, Carson Wallace, all of these guys. But conversely, the Knicks have guys like Mikal Bridges, Anunoby, and Josh Hart that put a heavy pressure on smaller guards, and they're going to pressure Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and kind of force him into some tough pull-up jumpers rather than see him get close to the basket. Shai's the guy who gets to his spots. A lot of people call him a 3 free throw merchant, but he's a very, very good mid-range player. Like I haven't seen a guy that had that kind of mid-range bag since guys like back in the 90s, like, the Jordans and the Kobe's. I'm not comparing him to those guys, but he plays that style of basketball where he's not just jacking up threes. And I think that, Thunder, with that elite rim protection that they have with Holmgren and Hartenstein, will kind of get counteracted with Cat and Mitchell Robinson. And I think we'll have a bit of an advantage with Towns because Towns can stretch the floor in a way that can pull OKC shot defenders out of the paint. And, I think it'll be more of an even matchup than people think. Both teams are, physical, really good defensive teams, and they kind of grind it out. And in this playoff atmosphere, it's all who gets the last shot and who plays the best defense. And I think that the level that the Knicks are playing, the fact that they've gotten all of this rest and the Knicks are pretty healthy, I think the Knicks are going to, as a fan, I want to say my team's always going to win. But I really, really, really believe that the Knicks have a great shot to bring a championship home. It'll be the first one in 53 years. I mean, the Thunders have been managing injuries, and they have a bunch of absences, a lot of nagging issues for some of their vital scorers, like guys like Jalen Williams and Ajay Mitchell and those guys. And I really think that OKC's depth is going to be put to the test when they play the Knicks, especially with us having all this rest.
Wasted talent. So we go to the Raiders. What content are you talking about? What are you looking at? There's not a lot from OTAs. All we care about is the health of the team. They're installing a new playbook. It's the Mendoza conversation. I was out there today. Throws a beautiful ball. I can confirm that. It seems like it's a different era of Raider football now with Clint Kubiak. It's really buttoned up. It's going to be quiet. There's not going to be a lot of gossip. Not going to be a lot to say on this team until we see them at camp and we head into the preseason to get a better understanding of the Kubiak roster.
Yeah, I mean, this has been one of the most uneventful off seasons as far as from a drama perspective that I've ever seen, and that's a great thing, right? And most of the talk has really been about that wide receiver room. A lot of people say that it's a bottom third group. I don't believe so. I believe there's a lot more potential than people would like to see. And I know you got to see it on the field. But I'm really, really excited about Naylor and Tucker and all these guys. Dante Thornton. I've been hearing how Jack Besh has been looking phenomenal. He looks like a specimen. So I'm just ready to see how that wide receiver group comes together. And I also want to see the assortment of offensive linemen that they choose to go with. I've heard a lot of great things about Trey Zone III. I did some research on the kid, and he was a phenomenal player in college. He played in the SEC and played all up and down that line, and I think that's part and parcel of the reason why he didn't go in the first round. But that guy's a first-round talent, and whether they play him at guard or right tackle, I think that this offensive line is going to be markedly better this year. And that's what we're looking for, because we want to see Ashton Jeanty get out there and really, realize his potential. I love a lot of what Clint Kubiak's been talking about the way he wants to use Ashton Jeanty too. He wants to use him sort of like Christian McCaffrey, and we know he has the ability to do that. So I'm really excited to see how that comes into play.
Yeah, I want to stay with that. Using him like Christian McCaffrey, and we all watch and consume a lot of Christian McCaffrey, is basically using him a lot more as a hybrid in the passing game. So the ability to line him up where he's catching wheel routes, he's in the slot, they're really running formidable passing plays. He would be the number one option. He wouldn't be a check down where they would draw up plays for him. Maybe it's 3 a game, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 1, I don't know. But the focus is getting the ball to Ashton Jeanty in space, something that rarely happened last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for anybody to be successful when you don't really have a true plan up front. Football games are won at the offensive line. Football is played with big, strong guys that impose their will on the other team, and we really did not have that, and I don't think we're going to have that problem this year. One thing I'm also excited to see is how Mike Washington Jr. comes into this, right? Like how are they going to – is that going to be a 1-2 punch like we've seen back in the days when we had, Darren McFadden and Michael Bush? Like, I'm super excited about this running game, because – the running game is going to open up everything else. It's going to help Brock Bowers get loose this year. I think Brock Bowers is going to have a career year this year, especially because he's healthy. He's got two quarterbacks that can get him the football, and he lives inside the middle of that field. And these are two guys that are very accurate quarterbacks, no matter who plays, who starts, whether it's Cousins or whether it's Fernando Mendoza. Brock Bowers is going to eat this year. So
yeah.
JT, I'm trying not to get too excited, man, because it almost seems too good to be true. But this is not like a homer call here. This is actual football reason here. Like, the Raiders are really turning the corner. I just can't wait to see it all come together.
Wasted talent as we wrap it up. If we're going to connect the dots here on Bowers having a career year with Cousins starting, the only way Cousins is going to stay on the field is feeding Bowers, correct? I mean, to me, it's the biggest Captain Obvious topic. There's no way that Cousins can hold his position and hold it and keep it away from Mendoza without going to Bowers on third down and keeping the chains moving. So I would think that this Cousins-Bowers connection over the next couple of months is going to be essential if Cousins wants to stay on the field and keep Fernando Mendoza as a backup.
100%. I mean, that was something that he figured out very early when he was in Atlanta as well, because you had another dynamic tight end down there that was not getting the football. And he went down there and he made sure that, Kyle Pitts got the football. So one thing about Kirk Cousins, if he does nothing else, he gets the ball in playmakers' hands. Like, he's not a guy that you ever hear has a problem delivering the football to whomever, the number one, number two option is on the team. That's not going to be an issue. I just believe that, the thing that the Raiders really need to address, and I know, we're talking about Bowers and skill position players, but none of this stuff matters if that front, offensive line is not cohesive and they don't have the prerequisite depth to be able to keep him upright and to keep, the chains moving. But I really believe that the best move that was made this entire offseason was getting Tyler Linderbaum. Having the Tyler Linderbaum in the middle of that offensive line really takes them from a bottom third group, especially when you got Colton Miller when he was out last year. Now he's back healthy with Linderbaum, with JPJ, that's going into the season knowing I am going to be a guard. I need to work on being a guard. He's such a phenomenal young player. When you have those three players and then the other two, whether it's DJ Glaze and Zune or Caleb Rogers or Charles Grant, whomever they decide to put out on that football field, I think the product is going to look markedly different this year because they have a plan in place. They have guys that are very, very versatile. And I've noticed that. You got a guy like Zune who plays center, left tackle, right tackle in college. You have a guy like Jordan Meredith that has played guard, take some snaps at center. And the one thing that I noticed from a lot of the guys that they brought here, that they're super versatile. So I think no matter what happens, I think we're going to see a much better result. And also Spencer Burford. I forgot to mention Spencer Burford. He is a guy who has started in San Francisco. He's a good guard. He's a veteran guard. So if you look at every part on that offensive line, you have a young player that's fighting for position. You got first and second year guys that are battling it out. And you also have vets that are there to step in if the bottom falls out. So I really, really believe that we're going to see a much better product this year.
Nice having a Knicks conversation with you. Way to switch it up a bit. Good talking to you. Have a great weekend.
You do the same, JC.
You got it. There he is, Wasted Talent. Find him on all of his platforms, especially his podcast. Good to talk to him. He's got that diehard Knick fandom. Also nice to see. There is breaking news today in hockey. Claude Lemieux, the 4-time Stanley Cup champion, took his life in a suicide, and he passed away at the age of 60. Lemieux, known for his fiery and aggressive play on the ice, spent 21 seasons in the league, playing for the Canadiens, the Devils, the Avalanche, Phoenix, Dallas, and the San Jose Sharks. He was one of the more difficult players to handle in hockey. He could fight. He could play dirty. He could beat you with the stick and score. He could check the hell out of you. He was a hell of a player. 4 Stanley Cups, 86, 95, 96, 2000, won the Conn Smythe Trophy with the Devils in 95, awarded to the best playoff performance. Played over 1,200 regular season games and 234 playoff games. Wow, that's a lot. So the guy was a hell of a player. He was a part of many different rivalries, and he was a guy that you'd love to have on your team, and you hated him if you competed against him. Claude Lemieux passed away at the age of 60. 702-365-9200. So Brock Bowers just spoke to the media. Let's knock out about 5 minutes with the robo tight end. Here's Brock Bowers.
Brock, last year you dealt with, especially in the first half of the season, you dealt with like the knee injury. Just, going into this year, how are you feeling from a health standpoint?
No, I feel great. I mean, it feels good to be back out there, practicing full speed, getting back into football with all the guys again. So, I had a good off season working out, staying healthy, and, trying to get back to 100%.
You ever been called a football robot from heaven before?
No, that was a first, but no, it was. I guess it's a compliment, so it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Did you like it?
I guess it's a compliment, right? I don't know. I know that's how I took it. So no, they thought it was funny too. They were all like, poking fun at me and stuff. So it was good.
What's your relationship been like with Clint Kubiak, and does he kind of give you those leanings that these are things that he's thinking about you in terms of having met you and working with you?
Yeah, no, he's very serious, all about football, which I like. He's all about ball and meetings. He just doesn't mess around. So I like that a lot. So definitely is going to help us out in the locker room.
Versatility in your guys' offense, something Kubiak really wants to implement. How excited are you for that?
No, I'm really excited. Just open up the offense and let it roll. We got some really talented dudes out there, so I'm excited to see what happens this year.
Your first impressions of Fernando so far?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy to have in the locker room. And, being a rookie quarterback, it's a lot of stuff mentally. So I think he's been doing a really good job at that. And, really being involved in, the playbook and just learning as much as he can, as fast as he can. So I think he's done a really good job at that.
Earlier in practice today, you caught a touchdown from Kirk and team period. What was that like to kind of having that chemistry with him, and what about him as a quarterback makes him so good working with him?
Yeah, he's a veteran guy, so he's seen a lot of stuff. And working with him, he throws a good ball. He's been around the league a while, so he's just a great QB. It's hard to find too many things negative about him.
Where are you at physically right now as you're going through OTAs, and how difficult was last year to not be able to do what you wanted to do all the time?
Yeah, like I said, I feel great right now. I feel like 100% ready to roll. Excited for the season. And, last year was frustrating. First game kind of banged on my knee a little bit. So definitely wasn't how I planned my second year to go. But, a little adversity and, just got to come back stronger this year.
Are there points of, did you find any points of emphasis you want to improve on as a player, even as a leader, anything heading into year 3 in particular?
Yeah, I think just honing in on my game and every single part of it. Even staying healthy too. I've been trying to do a lot more, preventative, work, trying to stay healthy throughout off season and going into camp especially, and going into the season. You know, that's half the battle, is staying healthy and staying available week to week. And other than that, you know, just trying to perfect little things like, you know, releases, route running, blocking techniques, so all the stuff.
Glenn said last week that this offense has to get most out of you. Kind of what do you feel that looks like for you in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can be a pretty versatile player. So I feel like I can do a decent amount of stuff. So I mean, it's just kind of however they want to use me. So I'm ready for whatever they want me to do.
Talk about however they want to use you. Based off the film, you see, you know, what they did in like in Seattle, Warner, you know, all those other guys. What are some things that really excites you about this system when you try to learn it?
Yeah, I mean, everyone saw the success they had last year. So I mean, we're just trying to you know, see what they did well and take it from there and try to build it into our own offense and make it our own. So we got a bunch of great guys here, and we'll see how it goes.
When it comes to building chemistry with a quarterback, is it just reps or is there more to it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's reps. I mean, they got to know kind of what you're thinking when you're running the route, you know, talking through it afterwards in film and just throwing the ball and catching the ball. I mean, I think the QBs need to see the way certain guys move and, you know, just get connected that way.
Talk about going over film, like after practice, you go through routes, things like that. So you notice Fernando kind of asking the right questions, and is that like something to be encouraging as you kind of communicate with him? Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, he's trying to take it all in, and you know, they have all those rookie meetings after practice, so they're all swept into those. So I mean, I'm trying to think of an example. But no, I mean, he's been great. I mean, like I said, mentally he's all there and he's all in.
Right, whether on the field or off the field, what has been the biggest change you have noticed this offseason compared to offseason past?
That's a good question. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like we have a lot of urgency this year. You know, that's a big thing, kind of focus, I think, is being urgent in everything we do and really trying to hone in and get better at everything we do.
You want to talk to Tom at all, or, you know, pick his brain about what Gronk did with him, or has he offered that up at all? And like, have you found yourself talking to him more heading into this season and the beginning of this off season than in the first 2 years?
Yeah, no, he's definitely been around more, and I mean, he's a resource anytime we need him. So I mean, it's really good to have that kind of guy around. You know, I mean, like the GOAT. So I mean, it's great to have him around and be available with any question we have.
Think there's any more acting in your future after the other Step Brothers?
No, probably not. It was brutal.
All right, so that's Brock Bowers. Wanted to get you that. If Brock speaks, you will get that here no matter what time I'm on. So that's Brock Bowers. Asked about the robo question that Clint Kubiak talked about, him being a robot, football player, all that. He made light of it. Really good guy who wants to have a great year. Did you hear what he said at the end about a sense of urgency? Brock Bowers is not here to waste 3 years of his legacy not winning. So when any Raider fan stops you in a bar or in a parking lot and says, well, you know, the Raiders are rebuilding, say no. It's disrespectful to Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers did not join this organization for 2 rebuilds. He's not here to rebuild. He's here to win and win every game, every single game. So I always say that. That's the way I'm wired. So it might take a little while to win at the level that championship teams win. That guy is hungry to win. Tyler Linderbaum also spoke. We'll play a small portion of that when we come back on the other side. We are brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. Charles Woodson had a great event there. Texting back and forth with our partners at Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. Charles was at the Raiders golf tournament, and he was over at the Raiders Tavern signing bottles of his Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, which fans love. Charles has a great time coming to Vegas, and we are proud that Charles Woodson and Woodson Bourbon Whiskey is partners of us right here at Raider Nation Radio.
It's the morning tailgate.
All right. That is it for me. We will be back on Friday. We'll do an hour tomorrow, and then I'm checking out for the weekend. So thank you. Yeah, it was good to hear Brock Bowers, wasn't it? Thanks for watching today. Can you hit like on the way out? If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for free. Let's get to 10,000 if we can.
7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio 920.